With protein becoming a kind of holy water that instantly anoints any food or beverage with a health halo, it was only a matter of time before it converged with carbonated soft drinks, right? But what if I told you that I've been trying to make protein soda a billion-dollar idea since 2016? Originally approached by the patent holder almost a decade ago, my attempts at influencing large beverage portfolios went nowhere fast. And it makes sense in hindsight, as within a low household penetration beverage category like protein drinks, market participants back then obviously wanted to bring in new buyers, but the more meaningful solved challenge involved expanding distribution. Even a few years later, within content basically no one watched, I started mentioning how PepsiCo should make protein dirty sodas by letting Muscle Milk leverage its carbonated soft drinks flavor IP. But fast forward another few years, protein is winning in most places across the grocery store. Accessibility of protein RTD beverages has become almost ubiquitous within the market. And maybe most importantly, the dirty soda movement exploded thanks to TikTok. And before you think I'm humbly bragging about my place within the protein soda category creation, one that will likely never make the future Wikipedia page, just know that I wholeheartedly believe being right too early is indistinguishable from being wrong. Instead, I provide that quick introductory story to set the stage for our conversation with the CEO of Don't Quit, Mark French, whose new protein soda is launching nationwide in Walmart, Albertsons, CVS, and others this month. And alongside this refreshed strategic focus of delivering healthier, clean, great tasting protein in a variety of different formats, we got an insightfully diverse point of view on the functional beverage marketplace from Chris Van Dusen, a private equity group senior partner involved in delivering capital solutions for late-stage startup and growth companies like Don't Quit. But before jumping into these interesting topics and many more, I wanted to quickly provide some additional context. For anyone watching the video version of this podcast episode, you might notice one, the background is different, and that's because it was captured on site at the Beverage Forum. But two, I have a co-host, Dino Sardi, who along with Danny Stepper graciously invited me again to the new era of this prestigious gathering of beverage industry executives, where I focused on helping them launch a new podcast called Poor Decisions. So do me a huge favor and follow the Poor Decisions Radio handle across all social media platforms, as the podcast will feature weekly episodes unpacking the untold stories behind the world's most iconic and emerging beverage brands. Also, a extra special thanks to Cognizant for not only being the title sponsor of the Beverage Forum 2025, but supporting this awesome piece of content. Whether you are a professional like me seeking cognitive performance or an individual focused on maintaining mental sharpness, Cognizant resonates with everyone striving for brain health. As the gold standard for acetylcholine, Cognizant is not just about supporting memory, it's about embracing life to the fullest. Learn more at the link in the description. But without further delay, here is the recent conversation we had with Mark French and Chris Van Dusen.
Josh, I started explaining. How would you describe your content?
Me, like you. Really dense strategic content that is very geared towards probably executives, but it's about, kind of dissecting consumer behavior and how that's moving categories or, just amazing. Different things like that. So it's really the type of stuff that probably gets talked about in conference rooms or whatever, but never really gets past that point, because a lot of guys like Mark and stuff probably aren't going to jump on camera and talk about it, where I try to put that stuff out there, because there's a lot of just who I was talking to, where do you turn for some of that? Like, how do you hopefully not step on the landmines or whatever, there's just what you don't know type of situation. And I think the more that we can demystify some of that stuff, maybe is useful. So I try to give that high level strategic advice, and maybe it helps.
No, your stuff's great.
Well, you guys look like the protein guys. Everyone's jacked and tan.
Oh gosh,
you guys are
he's tan. I'm not tan.
No.
I'm pale.
Everybody's shredded and peeled. I love it. So I've been waiting to meet you all day. I was trying to get Mark in here. He's, no, we got to wait for Chris. We're going for Chris. So I know Mark. Our listeners may or may not, but I would love to hear your introduction, and then certainly Mark, how you guys started collaborating together would be fantastic.
Absolutely. So Chris Van Dusen, senior partner, Slico Capital. I was an operator before. I was very fortunate, sold a few companies.
What kind of business?
One was second largest CBD brand in the world. Another was a liquor distillery back in 2021. Both those were exits in 21. and a beauty care brand in 19. So
wow.
Former, beauty care,
so
right?
you got alcohol, you got drug adjacent, and you got beauty.
I'm the vice guy.
I
Right
love
now
it.
we got protein.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you finally found a product in your sweet spot.
Exactly. I do take a lot of protein. Yes. Now I get to add a delicious soda to the mix.
Fantastic. And then, Mark, you built such a cool business. Like, it started off as X2 through some really savvy acquisitions. It kind of became Don't Quit. It's put you in kind of the energy and the protein space. This is the closest thing I've seen to a baby for energy and protein. Tell me a little about the product and how you guys developed it.
Really by listening to the consumer first and foremost, right? So we reformulated our protein shakes, just focused on taste. How do we make this clean, healthy, but tastes great?
And are you guys still sort of segmenting it? Because I know there was something that was more like full, like gym rat payload, like meal replacement type payload. And then you had more like in the snack range.
Well, no. So we have a 33-gram protein that goes right up against the core powers and the muscle milks.
So that one I'm
of the
familiar
world.
with, but the kind of lower level is no more.
So that was an adult nutrition. That's where
That's
the
what it was.
brand incubated
Yep.
originally with Jake Steinfeld, Body by Jake, disrupting that category, which very well might be in our future down the road. But no, we launched our higher protein shakes here in Southern California and just stayed laser focused here and piloted with Ralph's, Albertsons, Vons, Pavilion, 7-Eleven, hit some KPIs, and now we're expanding across the country, rolling that offering out and listening to the consumer, and just seeing the trends that are happening in the modern soda space. We said, could we create a very tasty protein soda? People understand the benefits of probiotic, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understands the need and desire for more protein, right? So
Yeah, my wife is suddenly eating cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Everybody needs protein, I'm told.
No, it's amazing. Like, even this morning with the breakfast offerings, there were no eggs or anything, but there was yogurt, 20 grams of protein. If you wanted that as a snack, it's a lot of work to get protein.
Yeah.
So if you could sip it with a meal that's adjacent to the meal or throughout the day with these classic soda flavors.
Well, that's what's wild, because it used to be if you wanted protein, you had to kill it.
Right.
Something had to die
Yeah.
if you're going to have protein. And that's not a great snack. And it
No.
doesn't travel in your pocket. So I think this is so cool. And you guys are really on the vanguard. Like, I can't think of another protein soda.
We're ahead of the curve, which is great. And as we, shared on the stage, we have the best partners that allow us to do that. There's a patent around this, so we have a very healthy head start. We're first to market with it. But the key was just to make it taste good. I mean, what was most satisfying to me is, I think Keurig Dr. Pepper is a large shareholder in our business, and they're a soda business. And they invested in us to be a protein business. And to know that we figured out a protein soda, you could see how that could potentially grow within the KDP family. And to hear that from the senior execs here today was really a proud moment for me and the team. And we're excited. And we announced on stage we're launching nationally with Albertsons companies, 900 stores with Walmart. They're really never first, right? They want to see the data, but after tasting the liquid, and we're focused in California and Texas, all doors. CVS, that's kind of the beauty of Beverage Forum. Every meeting we've had, everyone's saying, yes, we want it now. So it's an exciting
You've
time.
certainly captured everybody's imagination. So we had Walmart in this morning. Will McDonald sat down with us. He mentioned Don't Quit specifically.
Oh, wow.
We had Buster Houston from Albertsons. He sat down with us.
Yeah.
He mentioned Don't Quit specifically.
Wow.
So you've definitely become the prettiest girl at the party with just being ahead of the curve, I guess.
Well, I got to bring it back to Chris, right? Any new brand needs funding, right? It is expensive to develop and create these products and get it to market. And we're just really fortunate. We have an amazing cap table of investors, and the strategic value that Chris brings, just having been through these exits, his network. This is, you may or may not know, our protein shakes are now NSF certified for sport.
Oh, amazing. I didn't know that.
So with, Madison Square Garden's one of our lead investors. I have a deep background in working with professional athletes and professional teams. That's now scaling in locker rooms across the country. And Chris has a lot of influential people in his world of sports, where we're going to continue to incubate those products, let people taste them. But this is next. Like, why wouldn't you, if you're an athlete, be drinking a clean, healthy protein soda along the way?
I think it makes the category approachable a lot. Like, it kind of democratizes the category. It opens up the use occasions, because you think about, living in Texas, 90-degree heat, do you want this like indulgent chocolate kind of like this opens it up during the day. You can just crack it open. It's nice, refreshing. The taste is like where it's at. And I think as people, Dino kind of mentioned with his wife, like the word on the street is get more protein, get more. I think people want things that are easy for them, approachable. It's just simple. It's probably also why, the poppies and the Olipops worked well with fiber and that. Like it's something where they can just quickly pick up and drink, and it's like just an easy thought. It's not something where they have to like be scared of it because it looks like it's for muscle heads or whatever. That there's always that.
100% right.
I think this is a can that somebody can just pick up and go, this looks great. Let me try it.
It changes the use case, right? Normally you think protein you have after a workout, right? You drink this anytime, anywhere. To your point, it's not a thick shake.
Yeah.
With our 4 launch flavors, root beer, orange soda, grape soda, fruit punch, and it's cold and it's easy to drink. It's digestible. So we're excited.
It's a cool cheat code. Like I'm 200 pounds, hold your applause. And I'm told I'm supposed to get 200 grams of protein, and that's not an easy trick.
No.
So the fact that you can fill it out with, 20 grams in this can, maybe one in the afternoon and one with dinner, you're really starting to plus it up now.
For sure. And like, for example, I'm going to go eat lunch. You might not get all that protein. So
we're buying lunch. There's not that much protein.
Yeah.
Protein's expensive.
Yes.
Well, it's funny too, when you look at just soda as a category, right? As we kind of trend towards a healthier lifestyle, those naturally don't always align. It's a great treat, but it's not something that you're going to drink all day, every day if you're on the pursuit of that. And I'm not advocating drink all day. Well, yes, I am. You just drink these all day, every day.
Yeah.
But more so, you can say, oh, I still get that flavor, that hit, that idea of sodas. I love it, but I'm also having something that I'm putting in my body that provides me protein.
Yeah.
And those usually don't
mix.
It's
the blurring of the lines. I mean, I think that the approachableness of carbonated soft drink, like everybody drinks them, they grow up drinking them. And then when you maybe become healthier, or you become an adult, you stop drinking those as often. But then now that, if it's the gut friendly ones or if it's the protein ones, like you're still using this very familiar platform, but then adding in the ways in which, these new consumers, maybe wellness focused consumers, are more interested in getting those, attributes. And I think that that's what makes it so, interesting. The carbonation in protein has been kind of long overdue, because I do think there's an aspect of that, like astringency or that like mouthfeel that like the carbonation can cut through. It just has not really been done all that much until recently. So I'm excited for you guys to get this out to mass market, because I do think a lot of people, when they try it, they're going to be like, have a different idea of what a protein shake is, or, this is a protein soda, but like they're just going to have a different idea of protein, where they maybe came, in with a mindset of it's chalky or this. Like, I think this is going to flip their heads on it.
We appreciate it. And, the positioning of it being soda is really strategic, because it is soda. The flavors are soda. It's carbonated, to your point. But for us to be sitting right next to Olipop and Poppy in that modern soda set, I think it's going to really bring in a new customer, right? It's not the typical gym goer that wants more protein. And I think we try to accomplish that with our packaging. It's really for everybody. It's not necessarily for that bodybuilder, what have you. And some of these other fruit-forward flavors, they're going to be even more colorful, fun, youthful.
And how do you keep the panel so clean? Like, one of my favorites is, I got a meme of DJ Khaled, and he's got a cheeseburger in his hand. He's going, no, protein, though. Protein. Like, you've actually kept it really clean. Like, you kind of had a super group. How'd the thing come together?
Well, we had criteria. And, I think as an older entrepreneur, for me, that's like, we have to have a foundation. We're not going to make it if it doesn't taste good. Even though it's a great idea. Protein soda, we were all like, holy shit.
It was hard to get over the whey flavor, though.
Yeah. How do we get around the whey flavoring of the protein? How do we get it to taste like soda? Can we manufacture it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Protein is not inexpensive to make.
Yeah.
Can we get the price to be comparable to the Olipops and the Poppies? Can we get the design of the can to work where it's going to pop off shelf? And most importantly, will we get a retailer to sign up pre-launch? So just checking those boxes, great. Albertsons told us literally at the Super Bowl, DeMar Hamlin, one of our brand partners, we did a taste test with Albertsons and 7-Eleven. We're in. Okay, great. Now we got to go figure out how to do it. So it was just really speaking to our amazing partners at LA Libations, who can do this, who can do that, who can do this. And we came up with, our Avengers, right? This amazing team. that kind of shared that same holy cow, this hasn't been done, that excitement for a new category, and then just operated, right? Just stayed organized. I think that's like the most important thing.
What blew me away is like how stable you guys got it. Like, what's the shelf life? Like, does it behave like soda as far as
2
the
years.
supply chain? Yeah, that's like soda pop.
2 years. So yeah, it's just a big hat off to Chad Cunningham, our head of operations, who works super close with the
Shout
team.
out, Chad. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you, Chad. But no, that's about it.
So coming in then on the capital side, like Mark's definitely the prettiest girl at the party when it comes to the retailers. But as far as the brands, every brand I know is trying to raise money. There's just been a paucity of deals over the last couple of years. So what's your outlook, you think, for investment, and how do you find gems like this?
Yeah, so we looked at Don't Quit a little differently. So I won't say we get pitched a ton of different deals in this space, but when we do see them, they're usually just, they've got an innovative idea. They don't necessarily have any retail connections. They don't have, I think, the strength of the cap table even before we got involved from a partnership perspective. They're not already in market. They're saying we endeavor to do that.
Yeah.
And that's tough. I mean, there are places like here, Beverage Forum, to help accommodate that. When we met a year and a half ago and sat down and went through.
By the way.
Funny enough, in this hotel.
Yeah.
Where deals get done.
Get done. Not at Beverage Forum, unfortunately, but we were just here because
I'll still take the W.
Yeah. And we sat down and went through. I said, oh, wow, like this is different. And as I went back to the allocation committee, which I'm part of at our firm, to due diligence, I'm going, guys, don't look at this in the same way you look at a traditional kind of CPG play. Look at what's here already.
Yeah.
And this was before protein soda was even an idea. This was just executing and winning in protein, executing, winning in energy, understanding the partnerships, that were already developed, going, there's something really meaningful here. I realize that you could consider it a crowded category, but they're already so, I'll say, early winning and driving excellence that we want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Then the minute we started hearing about what Mark and the team were doing with protein soda, we said, now that's an absolute game changer and we're going to double down. And so for us, we got involved, and Mark and I have known of each other for 20 plus years.
Yeah. Admiring each other's work from the sidelines.
And a little shout out here, got to do it.
Do it.
We went to the same all boys boarding school.
Oh, really?
In Connecticut, a few years removed from each other, but always knew of each other. And we were able to connect about a year and a half ago, other than having some phone calls in person here. And, I'm already at Silico having my exits where he's building Don't Quit. And we said, this would be really interesting to do together.
So Mark alluded to it a little bit earlier, but he's got a pretty impressive cap table, like from Jake Seinfeld, the founder, to Jordan, to Keurig Dr. Pepper, to Madison Square Garden. How is that for you as an investor? Are you jumping in with a lot of other big fish, or was that comforting?
So it's comforting to know they shared our view, right? It's also comforting to know they've gone through the heavy lifting earlier on to understand what could be there. But I think more importantly, there's a difference in our mind between capital and smart capital, right?
I agree.
And I got to give Mark some credit here, because not only did we say we believe in what you want to do and we would like to be a part of it, he said, great, what does that do for us?
Yeah.
Other than just capital. And I bet if you asked many of the brands that are here, if we came over the hill and said we'd like to give you capital, they would open the door and let us do that.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, that's great. I love it. But what does that look like? What have you done before? And he certainly knew what I had done, but I have many other partners at the firm who have also done things in this category that we were able to say, these are the type of things we could bring to the table. And I think it's really smart on Mark's part to say, yeah, we want money, right? We have to grow, but I also want the right strategic partners if you're going to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, I got into the beverage space through private equity, through L. Catterton. And what really drew me to Don't Quit was you listed some amazing investors that I'm really proud that I was able to bring into the journey. But having Keurig Dr. Pepper as the lead investor with a pathway to ownership, better than I don't think there's any other brand here that has that.
I don't think so. And honestly, as a guy who's like, tangentially close to your business, Danny's on the board, so I hear quite a bit about it. a lot of strategics will place a bet, and then they're like, we placed our bet, we're good. The fact that you've got Keurig Dr. Pepper to keep betting, I think is a real testament to your skill as a leader, because at this stage in the game, if you can't raise money, you're not really a CEO.
Right.
No one else is raising money for the business except the CEO. Get to $50, $100 million in sales, and then you can start talking about strategy.
Yeah.
But you got to keep the lights on first.
For sure.
Culture, vision, and fundraising. That's the CEO's job.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
See you tomorrow morning.
Still, all of a sudden, your email doesn't work anymore because you sold it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the win at Albertsons. You mentioned the win at Albertsons. Those guys are super stoked about it. What are the other retail wins? What's next for retail?
So thrilled to share that CVS is going to be launching it.
That's a big one. It was like 13,000 outlets.
We're going to go 950 doors with them.
But you're on your way to 13,000 outlets, probably.
We are, and that happened here at Beverage Forum. I'm going to my next meeting literally right after this.
Okay.
With Target. But Walmart is launching it in 850 doors, all of Texas.
Do they see this as an
California.
extension of Modern Soda?
They do. It's going right next to it.
Yeah.
It's
And I
going,
think it's better.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to a lot of consumers, like everybody does. We all know people. And the probiotic thing, you either believe it or you don't.
right.
Nobody thinks protein is made up.
Nope.
No.
No.
And you got to move these things out of the pharmacy and into the main,
That's
sets. Like that's where these will fly. I think that, your point around protein being so important, you put those in the right spaces, because not everybody goes into the pharmacy sets at all times. That's not where people tend to go at a lot of times, but they're all going to go down every single aisle. And if they're there and they're looking at, I used to drink Dr. Pepper or whatever, and now I can't because of whatever. They're going to have that option because it's going to be there, and they're going to be in the aisle ready for it, and in that consideration over,
Yep.
I have to beeline over to the pharmacy or the healthy living set or whatever they call them. But
For sure.
I think there's also something I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up, and we had some conversations about this actually downstairs, which was with GLP-1s being this huge push. Take away the vanity side of it.
Yep.
Take away the type 2 diabetes side of it. Take the reworking lifestyle choices, where to be effective at not only the full weight loss, but also make sure you're the healthiest you can be while you're taking them, you need to increase your protein intake tenfold, right? But also the pure point of these drugs are to make you not as hungry and shrink your ability to consume. When you do that, how are you going to get the total macro amount of protein you need on a daily basis, while also you're training yourself not to do the same bad decisions you did to get there in the first place?
Yeah.
And so you get to have a treat, which also delivers part of that protein mix that you need during the day. And I think it's a really interesting cohort, or tranche of people to look at, where this can be a, oh wow, I get to have something that feels like I'm not in prison eating anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That also delivers me 20 grams of clean protein.
Yeah, for sure. No, the idea to bring in sort of cheat meals in different flavors, especially when I know a lot of people that have lost weight by saying, well, I just eat the same thing Monday, through Sunday, So to bring in something different and really augment it, I think you guys are onto something.
Appreciate it.
What else, Mark? Like, you guys are always pulling stuff out of your bag. This is a big win. What's coming next?
We got to execute now. So getting it on shelf is hard. Getting it off shelf is most important.
What's the route to market for you like? Like, how do you get to 1,800 Albertson stores?
So not sure when this podcast will be released, but
Tell me when. You know someone on the inside. You want me to bank it? I'll bank it.
Well, I don't think we need to do that, but we're going to announce
You got a big
also
distribution deal
joining
coming?
this cap table is KeHE.
Interesting.
First strategic partnership they've done like this. So KeHE is a very important route to market for us, but I was just talking with KDP. It's always like prove your way onto the trucks.
Yeah.
Let's prove our way onto the trucks. But, with KeHE, we can get to everybody. Walmart's direct. But yeah, KeHE's going to be a really important launch partner for us. Yeah, what's next is just make people aware of it and get them to buy it and come back. So that's what we have to execute.
And does KDP have something in mind, like a number or something like that, where they're ready to put something like this on their trucks?
Yes, but not for
Well, good to know
public
it's out
knowledge.
there. Good to know it's out there.
Yeah, I know what our target is.
Good for you.
Yep.
As a capital partner to support Mark, I will second the execution stage. You look at the SKU mix right now between what they have on soda in the regular protein with energy. I mean, it's a powerful mix of SKUs that can sit on many retailer shelves. With this now and its interest leading the way, it is execute. what you see outside of Mark and the team with a lot of founders. They go, I had a great idea. It's starting momentum. What's the next? What's the next? What's the next?
Yeah.
And you go a mile wide and an inch deep instead of an inch wide and a mile deep into the category.
Well, that's why I'm always impressed with like the operators, where it's like you got kind of a shitty product, you got a really shitty strategy, but wow, you worked the hell out of it.
Yeah.
You outworked the strategy and
Yeah.
made that thing win. Like there's a couple of guys like that out there too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, fantastic, guys. I'm so stoked you guys sat down with us. I've been trying to get Mark in here for a day and a half. He's like, wait till Chris gets here. Wait till Chris gets here.
Yeah.
And it was worth the wait, Chris. I really appreciate you sitting down and giving us
Thank
some of
you.
your valuable time.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gents.
But I hope you enjoyed the first principles thinking that went into my latest YouTube video. If you did, can you do me a favor by hitting that like button? That quick and free action helps YouTube know my content is worth spreading to more people. Also, we're getting really close to reaching my next subscriber goal, and it would be great if you join me on this journey. But to do that, we need to fix the fact that slightly more than 3/4 of you that are watching this video right now are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and that hurts my feelings. Regardless, I want to thank you for giving me some of your attention and time, and I'll see you on the next one.